go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind. Morbius is the latest Marvel film from Sony Studios. It is directed by Daniel Espinosa and it stars Jared Leto, Matt Smith, Richard Harris, I hope I pronounced this right, Adria Arjona, and Tyrese Gibson, among others. And this film focuses on the titular Dr. Michael Morbius, who is suffering from a rare blood disorder, and he is driven to ever more desperate means to find a cure for his condition for him as well as his best friend in life, who suffers from the same affliction. However, his cure doesn't go quite according to plan, and his self-inflicted medical treatment ends up turning into basically a vampire because sucking the blood out of others, and he is fighting his condition to hold on to his humanity and find a cure for his new affliction. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Morbius. I'll give my spoiler-free thoughts first off and then get into spoilers later, but just so you know, there will be some spoilers later on in this review. But first things first, let's get into some spoiler-free thoughts on Morbius. Is it worth seeing in the theater? Is it a worthy continuation of the Marvel franchise? Is it just any good in general? Well, no. The short answer is no. However, looking at this, I was kind of surprised looking back. I thought the name Daniel Espinosa, the director, sounded familiar. So when I looked it up, I didn't realize that his last major release, and I could be wrong, he might have released something else elsewhere, but from what I can tell, his last major Hollywood release was 2017's Life with Ryan Reynolds, and I can see a lot of the same fingerprints on this. Interestingly enough, that film was also thought to have been, prior to its release, a secret prequel film to Venom. However, this film, I wish this had been a secret backdoor to something interesting. It's not. And I can't really tell if this was Daniel Espinosa's fault or just the writer's fault, but this has a huge, the same habit of wasting talented actors who just kind of do nothing for the story. Just characters make baffling decisions, and this is kind of a throwback to an earlier era of comic book movies and just movies in general. Whereas, you know, something like Venom was kind of a throwback to, you know, 90s fun action films sort of thing, and people, I mean, it turned off some people, but a lot of people, me included, thought that it was a fun throwback. It was a good, the good kind of throwback you can get into. This is a throwback to the bad era of comic book movies, the early 2000s, you know, after the success of, you know, the original 2002 Spider-Man, you know, the original couple X-Men. People were trying like, all right, the comic book movies are starting to get back into the mainstream. What are we going to do? And they're just copying the same tropes that they get over and over, really delivering underbaked products. And this feels very much like it would have been at home at one of those films, like, you know, not quite maybe on the scale of like the 2003's Daredevil or Elektra or something like that, or Spawn. I mean, Spawn was the 90s, but still, this is that kind of era we're talking about. You know, wasted talent, you know, terrible writing. I mean, like, and the editing, like the action sequences. I mean, this is even a throwback to, like, you know, when everyone, after everyone saw The Matrix, like, oh, we gotta do slow-mo and everything, all these action sequences, like, there's slow-mo in these action sequences really for no point, and they drag them on for so long. Like, these are not good effects, like, at all, and they're dragging them on for so long. And, you know, like I said, wasted talented actors. One of the more hilarious things, in my opinion, was, you know, Tyrese Gibson plays one of the FBI investigators investigating the trail of destruction that goes on as a result of this experiment that Morbius does turn himself into this, you know, living vampire. And he does basically nothing. I mean, he stands around, he walks around and asks a couple questions. I don't think he even fires his gun in this film. I think he's in it for like 5 minutes or less of the screen time, and he has in the end credits. He has an and at the end of it. Like he's like I mean, for crying out loud, it says Richard Harris as the doctor in this. I don't think he gets an and in front of his name. It's like, man, how? I mean, why? What did you think? Why you're the prestige actor in this, Tyrese? It's like, I love you, man. I love you in Fast and Furious, but come on, man, this is ridiculous. Really, the only redeeming quality in this movie is Matt Smith, who plays Milo, who is Michael Morbius' best friend, and he has the same blood disorder that Michael Jared Leto's character has, and he becomes. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. He becomes the villain in this. I should say the antagonist, because Morbius is a villain in the Spider-Man universe, and the way Matt Smith plays it, at least he's having a little bit of fun. It kind of makes me think like he's playing this character as if the Doctor and the Master got into a Freaky Friday situation and switched bodies. That's kind of how I imagine this, and at least he's a little bit of fun in some of these scenes, but there aren't that many of him doing that sort of campy fun aspect of it. Really, this is just kind of a bore, and again, they kind of split the mid-credit scene, and there is a tease, of course, like trying to link it into the Spider-Man, live-action Spider-Man universe, and there is a tie-in to Spider-Man No Way Home, but good luck trying to untangle how exactly this works. I was like, what? This makes no sense at all. And, feel free to comment below with your explanation as to how this works as continuity-wise, character-wise even. Like, I have no idea. So, all this to say, this is not a good movie. Like, don't see this in theaters. Wait for it to drop on, Sony does have its own streaming services. I'm assuming it's gonna find its way to Netflix, or maybe they'll make a deal and get it to Disney Plus or somehow. Wait for it to go to one of those streaming services, because even then, I wish I could say this is like a so bad it's good sort of experience, but really it's just kind of boring and not that fun. Like, overall, I was going to give Morbius a letter grade. I would say this is a D-. The only reason I'm not giving it an F is because of Matt Smith's character. I mean, he has a little bit of fun with this, but yeah, overall, this is not a recommendation at all. This is kind of a situation where, kind of like New Mutants 2 years ago, when New Mutants was delayed so many times, and it's like, yeah, like they delayed. They know they're trying to polish the crap pretty much, and it's like, nope, this isn't working. But maybe if we build up enough hype, like, oh, it's finally coming out, then yes, we could get a decent amount of our money back. But yeah, it's kind of the same situation. Just like with New Mutants, this is not a good movie, and I imagine the hype what hype there was is going to die down very quickly after this. So those are my spoiler-free thoughts on Morbius. Now let's get into some spoiler thoughts as certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you, and where you may have seen them before. And I really only have the one big one, and it's a real doozy. There really should not, the fact that this is a Sony Spider-Man product, and we could say we're kind of in the age of reevaluating those previous properties, specifically the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man movies. And yeah, okay, there's a little bit of reappraisal going on there, but I think we can all still agree Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not a good Spider-Man movie, and there's way too many similarities between this film and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, this is essentially what the Peter Parker and Harry Osborn storyline from Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, you got both, Michael Morbius and Milo are having the same blood disorder. Michael Morbius seems to cure himself, and Milo's like, no, give me the serum, I'm gonna die, how could you deny me this cure? And then he takes it anyway and becomes a villain, and, he kills off his love interest, and, yeah, again, I hope I pronounced her name right, Adria Arjona. I mean, she does an okay job, she doesn't do much aside just stand there. I mean, she's worse than, Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but again, she basically dies at the hands of the antagonist, Milo, even though not by his hand, put him in a situation where he has to essentially kill his love interest. Again, this is basically the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and there should not be this many points of comparison between the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was not a good film, this is not a good film. And like I said before, that plot, that mid-credit scene with Adrian Toomes, and I'm trying to figure out how this is going on. He got plopped into, I guess it's an alternate reality where this is the universe where Spider-Man exists, but Venom is somewhere. Venom's in this universe now. We have him coming over into this the MCU version of New York, into this version of the world where there is technically a Spider-Man, but he's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's so very confusing, and does that mean that Adrian Toomes he knows Spider-Man, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, even though it's not the same Peter Parker in this universe, or is it? I'd have no idea. Again, this is such a continuity insanity that I have no idea why they were doing this, and how did he get into contact with Morbius? Isn't he on the run? Does he maintain his own phone number? That makes, no, this is just a no, in my opinion. So, those are my main thoughts on Morbius. If they could sum up in a word, just say no. And but what did you think of Morbius? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree? Disagree? Did I probably missed something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which comes out next week. Looking forward to that, because the first Sonic the Hedgehog was a pretty pleasant surprise for me as to how good it was. I'm hoping that they can do the same with this one. As well as my next TV review, which coming up will be for the overall review of Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. So be sure to look for that. And if you liked this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially a subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching, but just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.